Pants in the city, paws in the street, tails out right to an urban beat. From the dogs and the cats to the parakeets, all of us, we all know the sea. Fins and feathers and scales and birds, critters and squeak and chip and purr, wagging their tails to an urban beat. Yes, we all know the sea.
Hi, I'm Tony Sawicki, and this is Urban Animals, a human interest series about non-humans and the people who love them. Later in the show, we'll go to the Harsimus Cemetery in Jersey City, New Jersey. In this surprisingly bucolic setting, nestled into a densely populated urban center, you'll find gravestones, unexpected wildlife, hidden underground crypts and tunnels, and goats. We'll learn why these friendly, rambunctious farm animals have been relocated to a city cemetery and meet the people who brought them here. We'll also visit a healthcare facility that's got some extraordinary denizens living on its roof: honeybees. Valley Hospital has pledged to support sustainable and locally grown food, and as part of that initiative has installed beehives on its roof. The bees provide honey for the hospital's kitchens and also serve to pollinate plant life in the surrounding area. We'll check out the hives and learn about the importance of these industrious little insects. After we leave the hospital, we'll be visiting the breeding facilities of champion canary fancier Jorge Garcia. We'll meet Jorge and his canaries, explore the hobby of breeding and competing with them, and learn about how these charming, musical, and colorful little birds can make excellent pets for urban dwellers. But first, we go to Schubert Alley in the heart of New York's theater district, where actress Bernadette Peters assembles the brightest stars on Broadway for an annual pet adoption event called Broadway Barks. Once a year on the Great White Way, the biggest stars on Broadway come out to support pet adoption at an event called Broadway Barks.
It's an adoption event in Schubert Alley. You come and you meet, you get to look at dogs and cats and see if you want to adopt them.
Broadway Barks is literally the pet project of stage and screen icon Bernadette Peters. At a press junket inside Schubert Alley's legendary Booth Theater, Bernadette discussed pet adoption and the Broadway community's efforts to find homes for shelter pets. She also sat down with Urban Animals to discuss what inspired her to create Broadway Barks, which she started nearly 2 decades ago. Bernadette, what inspired you to actually start Broadway Barks?
Well, I was in Annie Get Your Gun, and we had just won the Easter bonnet for raising the most money for Broadway Cares of all the Broadway shows, and we were feeling really good, and we said, who else can we help? So I had just gone to the city shelter, and I was saying, well, we could,
help the city shelter.
Can we do that? And we were saying, yes, we could have celebrities come out from between shows on a Saturday, meet their animal, bring them up on stage, and get them adopted.
The idea behind Broadway Barks is to have performers from the world's greatest theatrical productions appear on a stage in Schubert Alley, the epicenter of New York's theater district, accompanied by an assigned shelter pet. Here, famous thespians appeal directly to the public, encouraging people to open their lives to homeless dogs and cats. A unique strategy with a profound outcome. What have you achieved so far with Broadway Barks? Because I know you get a lot of publicity through this, and I know a lot of dogs have been adopted over the years through Broadway Barks.
Basically, that's what our main goal was to get the dogs out of the city shelter. The first time, and to get animals adopted, dogs and cats. The first time we did it was the first time the rescue groups ever worked together. Before that, these were individuals that said, I want to make a difference. This is something that needs help, attention. So it started with 6 shelters, and we had over 3,000 animals adopted. 3,000 animals adopted and counting since Broadway Barks began. After our interview, Bernadette headed outside to Schubert Alley, where some of Broadway's brightest stars had gathered in the name of animal welfare. Among them, Tony and Emmy Award-winning actress Bebe Neuwirth, well known to millions of fans for her television roles in Cheers, Frasier, and Madam Secretary. Bebe, what brings you to Broadway Barks today?
Well, this is, I'm here because of Totes Adorbs. That's this kitten's name. That's
Totes
10-week-old. rescued kitten. It's a Broadway Barks pet adoption event, and people come out and all these animals get adopted and find homes, and people find their new loves to take with them. It's really wonderful.
And you've done this every year, BB?
Almost every year. There's been a few years that I've missed for if I wasn't available or something, but I look forward to this every year. I think, July is Broadway Barks.
It seems the entire New York theater community looks forward to this kind-hearted annual event, even the famously wicked. Christine Dwyer may be known for her role as Elphaba, Broadway's villainous Witch of the West, but in real life the actress is far from wicked, especially when it comes to helping animals. In fact, she was tempted to personally take home the shelter dog that she was trying to get adopted.
Since the moment I met her, she has not stopped wagging her tail. She wants to be introduced to everybody.
Now let me ask you something. Is it hard for you not to just adopt these dogs yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I have a dog at home of my own. He's 8.5, so I don't know if he would be ready to welcome another dog.
And for some of these Broadway luminaries, being here at Broadway Barks is not only an opportunity to help animals, but a benchmark of achievement in the theater world. Tony Award winner James Monroe Iglehart stars as the genie in Aladdin and always dreamed of being a part of Broadway Barks.
I just really love helping the animals, to be honest. I have 2 cats at home. I had a dog for 14 years, and I used to work at this theater when Memphis was here, and I used to see Broadway Barks here all the time, and I always kind of dreamed about them finally asking me to be a part of it, to be able to help these great animals. So I'm glad to be here.
So this is like a fulfillment of a dream for you.
Definitely. This year has been awesome, and the fact that I get to do this is great too.
Yeah, you get to be here and you get to help these dogs.
Yes, definitely.
And for those looking to find a shelter pet, there can perhaps be nothing more exciting than adopting a dog or cat who has come to your home after introduction by one of Broadway's most iconic stars. Norm Lewis, who is the Phantom of the Opera, represents a new homeless pet each year at Broadway Barks.
It's great to bring the Broadway community together to do such a great cause, and I love dogs. And I think they even have a Broadway cats thing too. But
they do have some cats here.
Yeah. So it's just great to share our love for these animals and hopefully find a home for them. And and like I said, it's kind of like old home week for us. It's a family reunion.
Right. You see all the people you're in shows with.
Yeah.
You've been in shows with over the years, so
Yeah.
it's a good social event too.
Exactly.
Clearly, Broadway Barks is a win-win situation for the performers, the pets, and the public. And it's all made possible by the beneficent efforts of Bernadette Peters, a Broadway legend and a tireless champion for homeless urban animals. I'm in Harsimus Cemetery in Jersey City, New Jersey, an historic final resting place where you'll find more than just gravestones. You'll find goats. Harsimus Cemetery and Memorial Park has a rich and storied past. It was, at times throughout history, a home to Lenape Indians, a hunting ground for Dutch settlers, a Revolutionary War encampment, and later, as the very first cemetery company in the state of New Jersey, it was a final resting place for the city's earliest mayors, freeholders, and leaders. This 6-acre sanctuary is rich with unexpected wildlife, and within its open bucolic green space are hidden mysterious underground crypts and tunnels. A nearly mystical treasure, the cemetery was abandoned in 2008. In short time, the caretaker's residence was settled by squatters. The property fell into squalor, and the land became choked and overgrown by invasive weeds.
The weeds over the 6-acre site were over my shoulders.
Eileen Markenstein is the volunteer president and trustee of the Harsimus Cemetery and spearheaded a movement to restore this memorial park, where generations of her ancestors are laid to rest. Eileen faced immense obstacles in taking back the property, not the least of which was the weed overgrowth.
There were homeless persons living in tents on the ground. The historic house on our site was overrun by junkies and squatters, and it was a horrific disgrace. Our volunteer team has been here for 6 years now. We've been working so hard trying to eradicate these very invasive weeds that keep coming back, and we finally found Larry the Goat Man, who has been kind enough to help us with his beautiful little goats, and you'll see today what an amazing job they're doing to help us.
Hello.
Enter Larry Sahanik, the owner of a highly effective and environmentally friendly company called Green Goats. Small herds of Larry's affectionate, rambunctious, and perpetually hungry goats can be found clearing weeds in parks and recreation grounds throughout the New York metropolitan area, and more recently at Harsimus Cemetery. Larry explained why goats are an ideal solution for weed control here.
Well, in cemeteries, especially old ones, it's very difficult to mow a lawn. As you look around, you'll see plenty of areas where a person with a lawnmower can actually function. You'll also find a lot of places where a person with a lawnmower cannot function, which means they've got to be walking around with a handheld brush cutter. Those are dangerous, especially when there's a hill like the one behind me involved. And in a cemetery as old as this one, you have unique circumstances. Tombstones are laying down, tombstones are tipped, graves are sunken, graves are raised, because that was the design of the time. So to try and get in and do anything fast with a machine is both difficult and dangerous.
It's not only easier and safer to use goats, it's also less expensive. In terms of cost efficiency, goats are half as much as herbicides and 1/4 the price of mechanical means for weed removal. And in addition to being environmentally friendly, their presence has yet another benefit, which is the reason why Larry brings smaller herds and keeps them on the property longer.
We could bring in a lot of goats and wipe it all out quickly. But parks like having the goats here because it draws people. The state national parks we're in have done a check, and the number of people coming through the park when the goats are present goes up 20 to 25%. So in a cemetery like this one that relies on donations, having the goats here actually gets more people participating, more people interested. And so we only brought a few goats because we want the project to last all summer rather than wipe it out in 2 weeks.
Harsimus Cemetery is open to the public, who are welcome to come visit these goats and encouraged to help support the trust that keeps this historic property maintained. Visitors will find that the goats are friendly, outgoing, and genuinely enjoy interacting with people because, as Larry explained, they are all bottle-fed.
A bottle-fed goat is a goat where you milk the mother and then you feed the goat, literally with a baby bottle.
Okay, so it becomes imprinted on humans.
Right.
And these goats are all pretty much imprinted on humans so that when people come to visit the cemetery or wherever they're at, they're going to be pretty interactive and friendly with people.
That's correct.
They are lovable to humans and deadly to invasive plant life. Man's most difficult gardening challenges are simply a big all-you-can-eat buffet in the eyes of these living weed whackers.
Goat's 3 favorite weeds are poison ivy, Japanese knotweed, and anything that grows with thorns. And those are the 3 categories of the most predominant invasive species out there right now.
They're great, and I've been helping with the poison ivy, Japanese knotweed, sticker bushes, and so forth. And they're a good alarm system if anybody tries to get on your property.
John Wilson, caregiver to the cemetery, told us that in addition to their many other contributions, the goats also serve as sentinels. Often, teenagers try to broach the cemetery's perimeter at night, and in the past have broken into the crypts and vandalized them. But that doesn't happen while John Wilson and the Green Goats are on duty.
Usually you got teenagers running around the back. I mean, I did it too when I was a young kid. But if they come on the property, they want the attention. So they want them to come up and, pet them and stuff like that. They're friendly goats, but the thing is, don't be trying to steal one. Not on my watch.
What do they do if people try to get on the property?
Nah, what are you gonna do? And I'm serious.
Located on the outskirts of New York City, Valley Hospital's Luckow Pavilion looks like an ordinary healthcare facility. But there is something extraordinary going on the roof. Beehives. Yes, beehives.
New Jersey's state insect is the honeybee, so having the honey here, we could use that throughout the year in a lot of our retail menus, our patient menus, our catering. So that's highlighting locally sourced, locally produced food.
Valley Hospital has pledged to support sustainable and locally grown food. Their dining director was the initial proponent for the beehives.
Valley is very interested in supporting green initiatives. We're a very environmentally conscious organization. So bringing the beehives to the hospital really fit in with a lot of our efforts and initiatives.
The scientific name for a beekeeper is an apiarist. I met the apiarists of Valley Hospital in the building's lobby before taking a trip upstairs to visit the hives. Okay, this is Joe Lolino from Bee Bold Apiaries. We are at Valley Hospital, where interestingly there are beehives up on the roof. And Joe, you are the guy who takes care of those hives.
Yes, that's right, Tony.
So we're going to go up and take a look at them. What are we going to do today?
Well, I'm going to make a hive visit. I want to take a look at the bees, see how they're doing.
Awesome. Let's go check out those hives.
Great, Tony.
But first, apiarist Eric addressed the important matter of safety apparel.
Tony, we brought you a veil and some gloves.
Oh,
you
thanks,
can wear
Eric.
this up on the roof. And depending on the bee's temperament today, we'll determine how close we can get to the bees. On a nice day like today, the bees should be very calm and contented and very little risk of getting stung.
All right, so I'm going to put on this cool beekeeper's
veil
outfit, and I'm going to be looking pretty styling up there on the roof. So let's go up to the roof. We are heading up to the roof of Valley Hospital to see the beehives. With Eric's help, I donned my protective veil and gloves. Then the apiarists got down to business.
You want to drop some in there? Good. Oh, right now we're getting prepared to visit with the bees. One of the ways we like to work with them is to give them a little bit of smoke. In the beginning, it actually panics them. They realize that there's smoke, there's a fire. So what they're going to do is they realize that if it is a fire, they're going to have to leave the hive at some point. So what they're going to do is drink as much honey as they can hold in their two stomachs. And they feel very calm. It's like us after having a big meal.
It sedates them.
That's right. And what we're going to do next is dislodge the bees that are in front here, because those are the guard bees. Those are the ones that protect the hive.
Joe also explained how bees make honey by filling their combs with the nectar they collect and then beating their wings to draw out the water.
They need to ripen it over, and the way they do that is to fill it and then flip their wings over it to evaporate the moisture from it.
The hive is quickly and systematically examined by Joe and Eric, who expertly determine the colony's overall health and viability. The apiarist's assessment for Valley Hospital's rooftop hives was excellent.
So what we've done is we've seen, first of all, that there's a lot of bees coming in, good population. There's a lot of honey here. The other thing, while we've been working here, I've been watching the bees that are returning. Okay. And as they're returning, they're bringing back pollen. Again, another good sign. So we know that the hive is really healthy, and there's a good population, and they have a good queen. So there's no point in going any further with this. Okay. So what we will do now is just to close them up.
As the hive is closed up, it is with the sobering knowledge that findings are not always so positive in the world of the honeybee. Environmental factors, disease, even mites are conspiring to cause a worldwide phenomenon known as colony collapse disorder, a crisis which is rendering this hardworking creature nearly extinct. So is there hope for the honeybee?
Well, there is hope. I mean, any attention that goes into the honeybee, like this report, goes out and the public picks it up and the public gets behind the honeybee. And it's a great thing. It's not only it's good for the honeybee, it's also great for the people that live within 2 miles of these hives, because these bees are going out pollinating as they go. 8,700 acres is what this colony of bees will do.
So these bees are not really just helping the hospital by providing honey and a sustainable resource, they're also helping the entire community surrounding the hospital because they're pollinating acres and acres surrounding the
Exactly.
hospital.
They're doing a job that no other insect could ever do.
Meanwhile, doing his job downstairs in the hospital cafeteria, executive chef John Graziano uses the honey to whip up dressing for the hospital's signature heirloom spinach salad. Beelicious. I'm in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, just minutes from New York City, and in my hand is a nest of tiny baby canaries that were born here in the breeding facilities of Jorge Garcia, who raises and breeds champion canaries. Jorge Garcia keeps approximately 300 canaries in a small, temperature-controlled building on his property just west of New York City's George Washington Bridge. Jorge is passionate about his birds and enjoys sharing information about them. Urban Animals visited him to learn about these cheerful little songsters firsthand from a champion breeder and expert who is also a ranking member of the local Colorbred Canary Society. Jorge, you are the show manager for the Colorbred Canary Club. What is the Colorbred Canary Club of New York?
The Colorbred Canary Club of New York is a group of canary breeders of the tri-state area that love canaries, love to raise them, breed them, and at the end of the breeding season, we get them ready for show season. And that is the goal, to win a big trophy.
And Jorge has certainly won his fair share of trophies over the years since he first started breeding these birds back in 1975. But there is more to canary keeping than winning awards. These little birds are friendly, beautiful, cheerful, and are melodic singers. They can make an ideal pet for the urban dweller because they are easy to care for, can live happily in a cage without other birds, and have relatively small space requirements. And, for those interested in animal husbandry, a satisfying hobby can be found in the breeding and rearing of canaries, which are actually members of the finch family. Now, Jorge, talk about what would be the appeal of having a pet canary to an average pet owner?
To an average pet owner, it will be entertainment because the canary sings. So it's a beautiful song that they sing all the time. And you can hear that song. And to me, it's very relaxing to breed canaries and to keep canaries, because once I'm come inside here, I forget about the outside world. And I just, looking at the babies and taking care of them and taking care of all the birds in here. It's amazing. It's, you feed them, you give them the water, and, they take bath. And when they take bath, that's amazing because they put water all over the place, and you can see how much fun they're having. And it's great. As far as I'm concerned, it takes my stress away.
Because they fill your home with song, and really every day is like springtime when you've got a canary, right? That's why I love them.
That is correct.
And what's a minimum cage size for these guys?
Size-wise, I will say 18 inches should be minimum, by 12, they don't need to be tall. He doesn't need to fly up or down. He just needs to fly a little bit sideways, That's about it.
These delightful songbirds not only have relatively small space requirements, their nutritional needs are fairly simple as well. A good quality canary seed should constitute approximately 70% of their diet, supplemented with thoroughly washed fruits and vegetables. For canaries that are bred specifically for their brilliant colors, such as the red factor shown here, special food is needed to maintain that color. Make sure that they have fresh water and keep their cage out of drafts, and canaries will thrive and fill your home or apartment with song. But with their relatively simple needs, why have these little birds lost rather than gained in pet popularity over the years? Now, Jorge, talk about canaries as pets right now, because I know years ago these were so popular. Just about every household had a canary, and now it's so rare to see anyone with a canary. Why do you think that is?
Well, my personal opinion is that the internet has taken away a lot of, the pets, because everybody can look at a canary on the internet, and you can see all the different colors and varieties of canaries or any other pet for that matter. And it's easier that way than to raise them, because there's a little bit of work involved in raising canaries, or any pet for that matter.
But for those who might be inspired to own or even breed these little birds rather than simply looking at pictures on the internet, there are canary clubs all over the country that can provide advice, guidance, and information about them. In fact, these clubs want to encourage new generations to become interested in the hobby.
We love to have younger people at the club because we're all getting up in ages, and it's fresh blood is always good. And the younger generation needs to have a hobby, something that you can touch, feel, hear. I mean, to me, that's better than the internet. But I mean, I'm not knocking the internet down. I think the internet is great, but you know,
But
having
for
a
God's
pet.
sakes, get off the computer and get yourself a canary,
That's right. That's a good idea. And come and join the club.